guys, welcome back to the studio. Today we're going to have fun with our clay and plaster. And so why don't you guys grab, you're going to need an old bowl and a spoon and some water. And you'll need maybe a ruler, pencil, paper, and in your box you also have paints that you'll use later. And of course your artist card. So our artist for this month is George Cigal. And he was born in November 26th here in New York, and then he died in the year 2000 in New Jersey. He is known for sculpture and pop art, and the periods were Expressionism, pop art, and modern art. And of course you can read here, but I'll just read it to you. George Cigal was an American pop artist. Though he began his career as a painter, he is best known for his iconic figurative sculptures, life-size white plaster sculptures made from casts taken from living models. Cigal focused on the human figure performing acts of daily life such as waiting at a station or talking on the telephone. In addition to sculpting, Cigal continued to work with paint, pencil, pen and ink, pastels, and photography. Alright, so if you have a moment and you want to study him, looking at some of his different sculptures, they're life-size. This one on your artist card, it says Depression bread line, when they would wait in line to get food and stuff during that time period in the world. And I thought it was really interesting because a lot of sculptors, they make a mold and then they fill the mold with like what we're going to do with plaster or bronze or something like this. Well, he actually used his big pieces of plaster like bandage, kind of like when you get a cast, and he would dip them in the plaster and then put them around his models, and then he would cut them off of them, rejoin them, and then that was the sculpture. Okay, and a lot of times his sculptures were all painted all white. Some of them were later in his career, they were cast into bronze, but his very first ones, they're just white, this plaster material, which I think is very interesting. And also that they're just, people doing everyday life things, which is also fascinating. So by now you should have a lot of artist cards for those of you who have joined me with the art box for a while now. And it's something, if you're a person that is really into art, or maybe think you'll probably do art history later in life, it's something that you could start studying. You could look at this and go, I know which artist that is, and just kind of test yourself. And it's just great to recognize art and say, that you know who the artist is. Anyway, it would just make it's interesting if you're into that. So what you're going to want to do first is gather some items. All right, I think I'm going to show you my little mold here I made so that you kind of have an idea where we're going. So this was made out of clay. All right, and when you make a mold out of clay that we're going to pour plaster into, you have to think of it's going to be an opposite effect. So here I wanted to make a heart. I wanted to do something for Valentine's Day, and I wanted to make a design. And so this is about probably 3 inches by 3.5 or something. And it was made out of clay. And then I'll show you how to do this in a minute. And then I put a little border around it with clay, and then I mixed up my plaster and poured it in. So then, after the plaster was set, I could take it out, and this is my little plaque. So you see, if you want something that's raised, like this little 3D heart, you're going to have to dig the material out. All right, and with the clay it's real easy. And then with my design, of course I painted this. I just used a dull pencil, made my design, and then I poked in there to make these little circles pop out. Okay. Then I painted my light pink and this kind of dark pink, and I had some foil, gold foil, so I put that on there. So first you have to think of your design, which is the first basic step of art. All right. So you can either make yourself a design, or you can look around your house or your studio, or your art area. I collect some fun things. I collect little keys, and I just think they look cool. So I thought, well, I could make a little plaque out of some keys, or this little object here. It used to be for like a twist toy, like if you wind something, like a little winding. I think I like how it looks. I also have like these cool nails that I have found. So maybe you're gonna have to take a minute, look around, go into Ask Your Parents and maybe get some things out of the workshop and see some different things you like that would make a cool indentation impression on your clay. And I'm gonna take a little bit of clay out here just to kind of show you that if you want to try it out, you just take some clay and make your little impressions and see how you like it. All right, and if you like kind of how it looks and you think it would look neat with the plaster, then you can use that. Okay, or I know that you have some neat toys, maybe Legos, different things. I have this hot pad. It actually has a very cool texture on it, like a little honeycomb hive. Maybe you want to go outside and get some things that you find outside, maybe a pine cone, some leaves, some different things. I have this plastic leaf, but it makes kind of an interesting design also. I don't know about pine cones. They make kind of an interesting texture. All right, or maybe you want to just do like I did and make up your own design. You could make let's see, even if you wanted to do, say you wanted to make a different shape, you don't have to do a square. Maybe you wanted to make like a little oval and put your initial in there. Now keep in mind that it's going to be opposite, because once you put the plaster in there, it's going to come out and it's going to be opposite. So like if I was going to do an S, I'd have to do it backwards like this, and then I could dig some of this out, some of this clay out, to make a cool S shape, and then maybe put some different texture around here. Alright, so first you should work on your design and kind of see what you want to do with it. And because we're going to do two things, you're going to have to keep in mind that you can't use a ton of plaster for the plaque and then not have enough left over for your face mold. So if I forgot to tell you that you have your mold, let me grab mine. In your box, you're also going to have this face mold, all right? And so you're going to need at least a cup of plaster for this. So those, when they get done, look like this. All right. So that takes about a cup of plaster. That's one type. Here's another one. All right, everybody has a little bit of different shape. And those we're going to have fun painting and making different designs on those too. So first come up with a design, and then what you should do is take your plaster and get a little bit of a half of a cup, a measuring cup. So I would take a measuring cup, I would take out, and you use a bowl. If you use ceramic bowls, they clean up real nice, but these plastic bowls, the plaster tends to stick. So make sure you're using a bowl that maybe you just bought something in the store. You know, like, I don't know. I always think of Cool Whip or something, because those were kind of nice little containers that you can just use and then recycle. All right, so you're going to take out about a half a cup. You're going to have to take out probably about a cup of the plaster, maybe almost a cup, not quite, for your face mask. And then you're going to have, I believe that's a half a cup left. So everybody got I weighed it out, measured it out. It should have a cup for the base and then the left over for the plaque, all right? And then you also got a pound of clay. So think about your design, and then I'm going to show you how to do this. You have plenty of clay, but you want to take out a chunk of it because you're going to make a border. Alright, so this had a border around it so that when I pour the plaster in there, it doesn't run everywhere. Alright, so matter of fact, I'm going to show you a couple of my other students. So I was saying this young girl made a little bumblebee or butterfly and then some little flowers, and then the clay around there is going to hold the plaster in. This student is a little older, and this is like a cameo. Alright, then you can see a little carved out face and design. Really nice. So for today, I took off some clay that was going to make my border, and then I'm going to take this rest of this clay and I'm just going to kind of smash it a little bit. It's probably pretty loud on the... Okay, but you want to be pretty flat. Give it a little whack. You want it pretty even. Alright, and then I'm going to measure mine. I'm going to make mine maybe 3 inches. I'm just going to mark 3 inches by 3 inches. I'll just cut that off of there. I'll use my pencil. But if you have a little plastic knife or something, it'd be handy. Alright. Then I will make this 4 inches. I'll do 4 inches here and here. Just gonna make a square again. But like I said, you can make whatever shape you want. Alright, so now I have my square or my rectangle actually, and I can put my design on it. And you know, I use my fingers, I use my pencil, you can use whatever little tools that you have. Okay, but let's see, this time I think I'm going to make these keys. I noticed they were getting kind of sticky, so I have to be careful that they will come out. And the good thing about clay is that it's you can just fix it, whatever, if you make a mark that you don't like. So there's lots of stuff that you could do, and if I didn't like this, I was like, well, I don't really like that design, I could just take the clay and, redo it. Alright? So then I might make a couple more marks. Just kind of help the design out a little bit. Maybe I'll make some little circles. All right, so I'm going to leave that for now. But you guys can work on your design and see what you come up with, all right? So then you're going to have to roll out a big coil. So I'm going to take, you have quite a bit of clay left over, depending how big you want to make your plaque, but you have to remember you only have so much plaster left, especially if you're going to do a full cast of the face. So that powder is plaster of Paris, and you just have to be careful with it. You don't want to breathe it. I never used my hands with it. I always use like a spoon or a, you know, something like a knife or something. Usually I use a spoon when I mix. Okay, so it doesn't get on my hands and stuff. All right. So I'm going to roll this out. I'm going to use this coil to go around here, okay? So let's see if it's long enough yet. It's almost long enough. All right. I didn't give myself a lot of space here. So you can roll this out, put it around there and let it dry. But lately I've been just pouring the cast right away when the clay's still wet. So it's up to you guys. But I kind of like when it's wet because then the clay sticks better and then you have... So I'm making it flat now. The reason I'm making it flat are so the walls are straight. Okay? So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to take the part that's flat, this side, and I'm going to put it up against my design. All right. Now I already can tell that it's not tall enough, so I'll make it a little bit flatter so I can pour a little more when I pour the plaster in there. So you want a little bit of a wall so that you can have your plaque. It can be at least 1/4 inch thick. All right, start again here. So the flat side is going to go against the wall, the area. Alright, just put that all around. Make sure it's nice and firm because that's what's going to hold the plaster in again, like I said. And then this bottom, let me just connect them, kind of overlap them, okay? Like that. And that should be good. Alright, let me see. Alright, so I'm going to put that to the side here. And I'm going to mix up my plaster. Okay, so I just got some regular water, and I'm going to start with a 1/4 cup. See how that looks. And you might not need all of this. This is 1/4 cup of water. So you're going to put a little bit of water in there, stir it around. You want it to be kind of like pancake mix. And you want all those lumps out of there. So see what I'm doing? I'm taking and I'm scraping the sides and I'm making the spoon touch the bottom of the bowl so that all those lumps are going to be dissolved. Okay? Because if you have it lumpy, then it's not going to fill into all your little cracks and crevices of your sculpture, your mold, alright? So that was a 1/4 cup of plaster and almost a 1/4 cup of water. I like mine a little bit runny because then it gives a little bit of time before it starts hardening, before it starts getting stiff, alright? I've had kids wait too long and then it gets too stiff and then it doesn't fill in all the little indentations of your art. Okay, so I think that should be good. Now I'm going to leave it on this and I'm going to just pour it in. Alright, scrape all the bowl so you have enough. Alright, make it nice and even. Real nice and even on top. Get all of this out. Alright, now you can give it a little bit of a shake. Gonna give it a little shake, get all those air bubbles out of there. See how they rise to the top? Just give it a little shake. Don't make a mess. Actually, if it falls out, it's fine. Okay, now just let it sit and just you'll have to wait a little bit till it starts to get firm, alright? Well, like I was saying, that you don't want to make your plaque so big. First of all, you're going to need to make sure you have enough plaster, but also I've had sometimes where the kids have made it bigger, and even though it's plaster, there still can be a little fragile, okay? So this one has been drying probably for like a half hour, and you guys probably at home, you should let it dry probably a little bit longer, but you can tell that it's, like if I pull it away, it's staying, you know, so leave it, you know, leave it probably a little longer than that, but I wanted to take it off and show it to you, all right? So I'm just going to peel this off. And hopefully it's set up enough. Okay, and I'm just going to gently pull the clay off and see if it has set up. It has. Alright, so here I have my little art piece, which is awesome. It's kind of nice actually to take it off when it's not extremely dry, because then I can take my fingers and kind of clean these edges up a little bit. But you can still do that when it's drier too. You can use some sandpaper or something also. Alright, so that, I think that looks neat. It's impressions of the keys and the nails. I think that turned out pretty cool. Alright, so I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Remember, we have that app that if you want to share your designs, a few kids do, and it's always awesome to see what they're doing. And then I'm gonna let this dry completely. So for the rest of the week, just let your sculpture dry and then we can paint it, all right? And in the beginning, I was going to give you guys just black paint, so you could paint it all black and then do little highlights with some dry brush with silver or something. But while I was deciding on that, I decided to, I like color, so like with my little pink one and red, I decided to give you guys a set of color paint. Anyway, so also this clay, if you don't let it dry, you know, you can do something else with it. Alright. If you want to make more of these, you guys can get the plaster of Paris, different places. I buy mine at Home Depot, but I know they have it at Michael's too. And then this clay that I gave you it can dry and it'll be a little bit brittle because needs to be kiln fired. But I make different things too and just let it air dry and just have fun with it. All right, so let's I think that's it for this week, because you guys are going to have to gather up some stuff, make your design, pour your plaster and let it sit, and then next time we'll paint and talk about some more art forms that we can do. All right, so have a good week, and thanks, and take care, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.